Well, so far, one Xbox move has turned out to be the right move for Microsoft, and I think it does go to showcase that they were right in this instance. I mean, you can say what you will about Microsoft and Xbox, and even if you don't like Xbox, right, you have to kind of agree with at least early results that they were completely right with this, and that's something that I feel like not enough people are going to give them credit for. But at the same time, I feel like we should be giving them credit for this stuff. So I do want to get into this video because I'm interested, very interested actually, to see what people have to say about this, regarding this, and what it means like for the future and things like that. Because I do feel like this is something that absolutely can like lead to some very interesting takes coming from Xbox. So again, I think it kind of proves them right. It's just honestly something that realistically, we were kind of waiting to see some early results, so to speak, and now we got them, and it's super interesting. Let's get into it. I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching the videos. Please like the videos. That's very important, liking the videos. I can't overstate that. It helps the channel to be seen and the videos to be seen and stuff like that. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. I do daily gaming content, and if you didn't know, that can take some work to do. So I try to be entertaining and informative. So hopefully that comes across. Now, listen, a lot of people were maybe a little bit hard on Microsoft because they didn't do a PS5 Pro competitor, and I can understand that sentiment because they did the Xbox One X, and that was a great console. It was a well thought out console. It was a console that really kind of showcased some great things. We were seeing some fantastic things. Like, I mean, they launched it with Forza Motorsport 7. Stuff was getting like native 4K on it. You had a lot of really cool stuff on it. And so that's realistically what I kind of thought, too. I'm like, hey, you know what? It doesn't make sense for them to not release a competitor. But now we're seeing that, the PS5 Pro isn't running as good as initially thought, or isn't doing what a lot of us initially thought it would do. For instance, Digital Foundry did the Avatar patch and test, and it's the latest PS5 Pro patch that looks worse than the base PS5 game. So, I mean, this is stuff that maybe can be fixed down the line, but when you launch a new, like, Pro console the way that Sony did, with no new software from your first party or anything, and the only thing you're really dependent on is, the third-party stuff, it really kind of needs to show why people are going to spend $700+ on this. So anyway, according to this, they talk about the PlayStation 5 Pro. They're writing about Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. It's on the PS5 Pro, and its spec points look impressive. You're getting the quality mode visuals on the base console version at 60 frames. There's just one problem. The Pro version looks a lot worse than the standard console's quality mode, and even its performance mode has some quality disadvantages over the Pro version, in which case, what's the point? According to this, it says we should expect to see some outlier software with the arrival of any enhanced console, games that aren't quite delivering what they should. In fact, we saw it with the launch of the PS4 Pro back in 2016. The Last of Us Remastered could run at a lower frame rate on the Pro than it did the base PS4, and Watch Dogs 2 also had similar issues. However, those were usually exceptions and were quickly patched. While the quality of Pro versions could vary dramatically, a noticeably worse image wasn't the issue, and yet this is clearly happening on the PS5 Pro. So many titles are affected now that many users are asking for the ability to run PS5 Pro enabled games without the Pro feature enabled. Instead, those games would run with standard model features with only the extra CPU and GPU horsepower of the new console in use. According to him, he feels that it's a short-term solution of sorts to a problem that will likely be resolved in the medium term. But to understand the problem's focus on Sony's machine learning upscaling solution, PlayStation Spectral Resolution, or PSSR, this is essentially the PlayStation team answer to NVIDIA DLSS or Intel XESS, where game engine inputs and at a lower resolution are fed to a neural network, delivering an upscaled output for 4K screens. So again, PSSR has delivered some results, good results with like Stellar Blade and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Insomniac games look good as well. But there's many others, including Naughty Dog's The Last of Us Part 1, Silent Hill 2, having some issues. Star Wars Jedi Survivor can look pretty hideous, according to this, while Star Wars Outlaw also has some profound issues. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is especially impacted because PSSR has issues with transparency effects, most notably foliage, and also seems to have quality problem with ray tracing results. So anyway, it's shown to lose a lot of quality the higher the upscaling factor. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora seems to operate with a 720p to 1800p dynamic resolution, which paired with foliage and ray tracing combines to create a Three Horsemen of the Apocalypse effect, which ultimately makes the game look worse on Pro than it did on the standard console. But now the sense is that PSSR can be detrimental to a game's presentation, as it can be a boon, and that's a problem when you're selling an expensive enhanced console upgrade to the most dedicated fans in your user base. The quality bar is very, very straightforward. A Pro Enhanced game cannot and should not ship if it's worse than the output of the standard model. So again, like, I want to talk about this real quick because, you know, as someone who has one, it's kind of like, you know, we're in this weird situation where at the end of the day, you know, as gamers, we're kind of looking at this stuff and we're going, okay, well, why are these things not, you know, working out better? Why do these things not look good? And, you know, to be clear about it, you know, nobody really knows why this stuff isn't exactly looking good. You know, it's like, you know, it's an issue for sure, but at the same point in time, I feel like, you know, there's gamers out here that that deserve better. You know, it's like, like, people ask me, well, do you use yours very often, etc., etc., and, you know, I'm like, no, unfortunately, you know, it's just one of those things that never really happened for me. Like, I haven't really played much in terms of the games on it. You know, I've maybe about 3 hours worth, you know, and that's you know, just the truth of the whole thing. You know, it's like we're trying to kind of understand why these kind of things are happening, and, you know, there's no real clear answer. So, you know, I do feel like at the end of the day that, you know, there's a lot of things kind of happening, and, you know, for me, I feel like it's really unfortunate that this kind of stuff happens, but at the same time, you know, I expect it to probably be fixed along the way. But at the same time, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, why is this an issue to begin with? Like, why would this thing not be alleviated? You know, why would this console not be ready to go, you know, when it would launch? You know, you don't have any first-party stuff. You know, the third-party stuff that you do have, a lot of it looks worse. You know, and I think this really goes to show that Microsoft, you know, was right in not doing a mid-gen upgrade. You know, like, honestly, we're just kind of looking at this, and I'm kind of just thinking to myself, man, Microsoft really kind of screwed themselves up and before, but now it's just like, hey, maybe they didn't do bad. You know, maybe they did the right thing. You know, because when we look at how things are kind of performing, the news is not really good for Xbox. Now, on the plus side, for Sony, you know, Microsoft, honestly, you know, they can't stay out of the news for bad things themselves. So we really have this bad situation where kind of this stuff happens time and time again, and, you know, and this is realistically where, you know, at the end of the day, Sony kind of dropped the ball, and Microsoft was like, hey, we're not gonna run with that, you know. And I think that's something that Microsoft has done a lot. In this instance, I think it's smart, even if they don't launch something in 26, which I kind of doubt that they do. I think if they launch something in 2027, they're still going to be in relatively good shape, even later, you know, because honestly, the PlayStation 5 Pro is a okay console, but until Sony puts something out there on it that's good, you know, unfortunately, I don't think it's worth the price. You know, I mean, people want to ask the truth. That's kind of the truth on the matter. So, anyway, let me know what you guys think. I certainly appreciate it. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up. I'll catch you next time. Crap gamer out.